off! Catch us if you can!
Wait, I'm trying!
A billionaire dumped a little girl on a mountain to die, but the dog he left with her became her protector. Now she's back, and his secret is about to explode. Nobody climbs Eagle Ridge Mountain at night unless they're desperate or hiding something. That night, the wind howled like a warning. Trees bent like they were trying to bow away from what was happening. A black luxury SUV crawled up the narrow path and stopped near the cliff edge. Inside the car, a young girl, no more than 13, sat trembling in the back seat. Her wrists weren't tied, but she was trapped in something worse, fear. Her name was Mira Hale. Beside her sat a dog, a golden retriever with a scarred ear, trembling just as much as she was. His collar read, "King, property of Ashford." In the front seat, the driver spoke in a low voice, trying to hide nervousness. "Sir, the weather is getting worse." The man in the passenger seat didn't respond. His face was sharp, expensive, cold, the kind of face people trusted just because it belonged to a billionaire. Damien Ashford. He finally turned back, staring at Mira like she was a mistake that had grown too big to bury. "You understand what happens if you speak about what you saw?" Damien asked. Mira swallowed. Her voice shook. I didn't mean to. I didn't even know it was you." Damien's eyes didn't soften. "That's the problem, Mira," he said quietly. "You saw me." She blinked rapidly, tears spilling. Please don't do this. My mom is waiting for me." Damien stepped out. Cold air rushed in like a knife. The driver looked back at Mira with guilt. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Damien opened the back door. "Get out." Mira hugged King's neck desperately. "No, please. I'll swear I'll never say anything. I'll disappear. Damien grabbed the dog's leash and yanked it free. King growled, sensing danger. Damien leaned close to her face. "Disappearing is exactly what I need," he said. Then he shoved the door wider and pointed into darkness. "Walk." The mountain wind slapped Myra's face the moment she stepped outside. She couldn't see anything but shadows and fog. She turned. "Sir, you can't just leave me here." Damien's voice was calm. That's what made it terrifying. "I can." He tossed something at her feet, a small bag. Inside, a half bottle of water, one loaf of bread, and a cheap flashlight that barely worked. A rich man giving charity before murder. Myra's knees buckled. "You're not going to kill me?" Damien smirked slightly. "I don't have to. The mountain will." He turned to the driver. "Go." The car reversed. Mira screamed, running after it. "Please, please." The SUV roared down the mountain, headlights shrinking until they disappeared. Silence swallowed everything. Mira stood there shaking. Then the dog stepped in front of her. King didn't run away. He stared into the darkness like he was guarding her. Mira whispered through sobs, "Why didn't you leave me too?" King pressed his head against her stomach, as if saying, "Because someone has to stay." That's when Mira understood the cruel truth. Damien Ashford didn't abandon her alone. He left her with the only witness that could never testify, a dog. And as thunder rolled across the mountain, Mira realized she had only two choices: die like the billionaire intended or live long enough to destroy him. Mira stumbled through the fog, her teeth clattering. The cold was unnatural, like the mountain itself hated human skin. She took 5 steps before slipping on wet rocks. "Ow!" she cried, wincing. King barked once, then nudged her shoulder urgently as if saying, "Get up, keep moving." Mira dragged herself upright. Okay, I'm moving." Lightning cracked and revealed something terrifying. The path behind her was gone. Fog had eaten it. She didn't even know which direction was down. Her flashlight flickered when she turned on. "Great," she muttered bitterly. "Even the light is quitting on me." King led the way, nose low, ears alert. Hours passed. Then Mira heard it, a growl, not from King, from something else. She froze. King, a dark shape stepped between the trees, a wild mountain wolf, eyes gleaming, wet fur bristling, hungry. Myra's lungs locked. No, no, please. King stepped forward instantly, snarling like he'd been trained for war. King, don't, Mira whispered, her voice cracking. But the wolf lunged. King met it midair. They hit the ground hard. Mira screamed, grabbing a rock and swinging blindly at the wolf. It snapped at her hand. King clamped his teeth down on the wolf's leg. The wolf yelped, then turned and bit King's shoulder. Mira cried out, "Stop! Stop!" She slammed the rock again. This time it landed. The wolf staggered. King forced it backward, teeth bared. Finally, the wolf retreated into darkness. Mira collapsed, breathing like she'd been running for her life, which she had. King limped back to her, blood dripping. "Oh my God, you're bleeding," Mira sobbed. King whined softly but stayed strong. She ripped the bottom of her shirt and wrapped it around his wound. "Why? Why are you helping me?" she whispered. King just stared at her. A strange thought hit her like lightning. Damien didn't leave King to help her. He left King because King was loyal and dangerous. Maybe Damien believed King would eventually turn on her, but King didn't. Instead, King guided Mira deeper into the trees until they reached an old wooden cabin half buried under snow. Mira stared in shock. A cabin? The door creaked open from the wind. Inside was dust, but also signs someone once lived there. A fireplace, a broken chair, a torn blanket. Mira dropped to her knees, near crying with relief. "Thank you," she whispered to King, hugging him. That night, she made fire using dry twigs and the cabin's old matches. As flames rose, Mira stared into them, anger sharpening inside her like a blade. She remembered Damien's words. "The mountain will." She whispered to the fire, "You're wrong." King lifted his head, as if listening. "I won't die," she said louder. "Do you hear me? I won't." The storm raged outside, but inside a girl and a wounded dog survived together. And somewhere far away, Damien Ashford was at a fundraiser, smiling for cameras, shaking hands, pretending to be a hero. A reporter asked him, "Mr. Ashford, what do you believe makes a man great?" Damien chuckled politely. "Discipline," he said, "and knowing when to remove distractions." He didn't know his distraction was still alive, and the mountain didn't kill Mira. The mountain forged her. Morning came with heavy silence. Mira woke to King licking her face. "Ugh. Okay, I'm awake," she groaned. King barked and ran toward the door. Mira sat up. "Where are you going?" King barked again like he was calling her. Mira followed outside. Snow had covered their tracks. The fog was thinner now, and she could see the vast forest below. That's when she heard a voice. "Don't move." Mira froze. A woman stepped out holding a hunting rifle. Her hair was tied back, face sharp and weathered like the wilderness. King stood between them, but didn't growl. The woman's eyes narrowed. "That dog, he's Ashford's." Myra's heart pounded. "You know him?" The woman's voice turned bitter. "Everyone knows Damien Ashford. Even the trees know his name." Myra's throat tightened. "He abandoned me here." The woman's grip on the rifle tightened. "Of course he did," she muttered. "He abandons everything that gets inconvenient." Mira whispered, "Who are you?" The woman lowered the rifle slightly. "Name's Rhea Cole." Mira blinked. "You live here?" Rhea snorted. "Not by choice. I hide here." She stepped closer, studying Myra's bruises and shaking hands. "What's your name, kid?" "Mira." "And what did Ashford want you dead for?" Rhea asked bluntly. Mira hesitated. Fear rose again. Rhea pointed her rifle toward the ground. "I'm not your enemy, but your answer decides whether I help you." Mira swallowed and spoke fast. I was cleaning at his hotel with my mom. I heard shouting. I went to check, and I saw Damien pushing a man down the stairs." Rhea's eyes hardened instantly. Mira continued, voice trembling. "The man hit the floor and didn't move. Damien saw me." Rhea whispered, stunned. "So he finally did it, openly." Mira stared. "What do you mean?" Rhea's expression darkened. "I used to work for Ashford. Security. I saw what he does to people who threaten his image. Myra's eyes widened. Then you can help me. Please. I need to go to the police. Rhea laughed, cold, humorless. Police? Kid, Ashford o2s half their homes. Myra's hope cracked. Rhea knelt. Listen to me. If you go back unprepared, he'll erase you. Quietly. Mira whispered. So what do I do? Rhea looked at her like she was looking at a younger version of herself. You get smart, Rhea said. You get strong. And you don't fight him with fear. Mira stared at her. Will you help me? Rhea hesitated. King walked to Rhea and leaned against her leg. Rhea sighed. Of course the dog chooses you. She stared at Mira. Fine, but understand this. If you survive long enough to fight Ashford, you'll have to become something he doesn't expect. Mira asked softly, What's that? Rhea's voice was sharp like steel. A ghost with teeth. That night, Rhea fed Mira real food for the first time in days. As Mira ate, she asked, Why do you hate him so much? Rhea's eyes flickered with pain. Because I once loved him, she whispered, and he destroyed everything that made me human. Mira looked down at King. Then she said the words that would change everything. Teach me how to destroy Damien Ashford. Like a knife. Liar. The room froze. Damien's smile stiffened. His eyes scanned the crowd. A girl stepped forward in a plain black dress. A hood covered her hair. She raised her chin. Damien's blood turned to ice. It was her, Mira, alive. Beside her walked a woman with cold eyes, Rhea Cole. And next to them, King, the dog that wasn't supposed to return. Damien whispered under his breath. No. Mira raised her voice so everyone could hear. Mr. Ashford, she said calmly, you abandoned me on Eagle Ridge Mountain. Gasps erupted. Damien's PR team rushed forward. Security! Remove her. But Mira shouted louder. I have proof. Damien's voice was sharp now. This is a disturbed child looking for attention. Mira smiled slightly. Is that why you look terrified? The crowd murmured. Reporters leaned in like wolves. Damien stepped closer, forcing a smile. Mira, he said softly like a caring father, I don't know you, but I'm sorry for whatever you've been through. Mira replied with ice. You know me. Then she took out her phone and played a recording. Damien's voice came through the speakers. Disappearing is exactly what I need. The room exploded into chaos. Damien's eyes shot to the driver in the crowd, his former driver, who looked away in shame. Mira continued. You thought I would die. You thought nobody would believe a poor girl. But here I am. Damien leaned in, whispering through a smile. You should have stayed dead. Mira whispered back. You should have stayed human. Security tried to grab her, but Rhea stepped forward and raised her own phone. Rhea spoke loud. I'm Rhea Cole, former Ashford security. I have files, recordings, names, dates, evidence of cover-ups. Damien's smile finally cracked. Rhea stared at him with hatred. You left me in the woods once too. Damien whispered. You're doing this because you're bitter. Rhea smiled coldly. I'm doing it because you're evil. Mira turned to the cameras. This man is not a hero, she said. He is a monster wearing money. Damien's voice shook with rage now. You think this ends me? He snarled. I will bury you again. Mira stepped forward, fearless. You already tried, she said, and the mountain rejected your evil. King barked, loud and fierce. Reporters swarmed. Damien Ashford tried to escape the stage, but for the first time in his life, the crowd didn't clap. They stared, and Damien felt it, the beginning of the end. Damien Ashford didn't sleep that night. He paced his penthouse like a trapped animal. His assistant, trembling, whispered, Sir, the news is everywhere. Damien slammed a glass against the wall. She was supposed to die. His phone rang. The caller ID made his stomach sink. Senator Halden. Damien answered quickly. Senator. The senator's voice was ice. Are you insane? Your charity event turned into a criminal circus. Damien snapped. I can fix this. No, the senator said coldly. You can't. Not this time. Click. The line went dead. Damien's power was collapsing faster than he expected, because Mira didn't just appear. She returned with something deadly. Truth. The next day, authorities raided Ashford offices. Financial crimes surfaced. Cover-ups were exposed. People Damien once threatened now rushed to testify because they smelled weakness. And in the middle of it all, Mira stood outside the courthouse, reporters surrounding her. A journalist asked, Mira, why didn't you just disappear and move on? Mira looked into the camera. Because if I disappear, she said, he'll do it to another child, another innocent person. She glanced at King. And because I learned something in the woods. The journalist asked, What? Myra's voice became soft but powerful. That the world doesn't change because evil gets tired, she said. It changes because someone survives long enough to fight back. Inside the courthouse, Damien sat in handcuffs. For the first time, he looked small. A reporter shouted, Mr. Ashford, did you really abandon a girl on the mountain? Damien looked up, and there he saw her, Mira, standing calm, alive, unbroken. Damien sneered, You think you won? Mira walked closer. I don't think, she said. I know. Damien's eyes narrowed. You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. Mira leaned down so only he could hear. I was nothing when you dropped me on that mountain. She smiled. But you forgot one thing. Damien whispered. What? Myra's voice turned into steel. Nothing is what the mountain makes before it turns it into something unstoppable. Damien's face twisted in hatred. Mira stood tall. You built your life on fear, she said. Now you'll live in the same fear you gave others. Court officers dragged Damien away. He shouted, You can't do this to me. I am Damien Ashford. Nobody listened. Outside, Rhea hugged Mira for the first time. You did it, Rhea whispered. You really did. Mira shook her head. No, she said. We did. King barked happily, tail wagging. Weeks later, Mira testified. And when the verdict came, guilty, the courtroom erupted. Mira didn't smile. She simply closed her eyes and whispered, I'm safe now. As she walked out into the sunlight with King by her side, the world saw something it had forgotten. Money can buy silence, but it cannot buy truth, and it cannot bury a soul that refuses to die. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.